Lyrics when SNME Radio. So, Mercedes, you have joined a roster of so many talent who have conquered different territories in wrestling, whether it's Mexico, Japan, the UK. And now you are on the path of doing that as well with holding the New Japan Strong Women's Championship and your recent appearances and CMLL. Why do you think it's so important for women to be a part of the world beater conversations of conquering the wrestling world?
Because this is the place to be. This is AEW. I came here for a reason to make women's wrestling globalize. And now I can finally do that with the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. I can go to Japan. I can go to Mexico. I can go all around the world. And if they want to come to me, being the face of TBS, then here we are. Every Wednesday on Dynamite, they can come up and step up to me because I am the best in the whole world.
You can go to London.
Yeah. We can go to All In. Who's next for London, Tony?
Well, there's a lot of great contenders out there, especially now that you've got 2 championship belts, champ. It's going to be a lot of people lined up to fight Mercedes Moné, the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, and the TBS Champion, heading to Chicago this Wednesday.
Lyrics when SNME Radio. So you've had a lot of high-profile matches this year. Bryan Danielson in Osaka last week, Hechicero in Arena Coliseum, obviously tonight versus Orange Cassidy, and you've been a bannerman for British technical wrestling. And so what does it mean to you to kind of be the face of that style of UK wrestling and really spread that all over the world right now?
Yeah, I guess obviously I debuted at like a very interesting time for British wrestling. Like I started training in 2002. It was like the post World of Sport, like the period of British wrestling that people call World of Sport. Obviously, we had such a unique style and identity. Obviously, we lost television and everything. You know, American wrestling had such a huge impact. But I was fortunate that I was really trained by one of the last schools, like Hamlock Wrestling, like Andre Baker, John Ryan. That's where like Finn Balor and Becky Lynch and like a plethora of other people come from. But we were very fortunate that not even the foundation of that training, but the training was solely British wrestling. Like, I don't wrestle that way because that's what I was taught. Like, I wrestle that way because that was what inspired me the most. I think, like, my goal has been to not just sort of keep that in a sort of like retro fashion. Like, if British wrestling had stayed on television, it would have evolved in the same way. Mark Rocco was doing top rope drop kicks in 1980. Like, it wouldn't have been like a static style. So I'm continuously trying to keep the essence of British wrestling whilst not being like stuck in the rigid sort of format of like what it was before. So then to be able to wrestle in America, I mean, AEW has changed the entire industry, because to be able to have a large scale American company that completely respects pro wrestling did not exist before. And it's only had a paramount influence on, you know, every other company here. I think we're at the time now where people just respect and admire like quality wrestling. And then also like the main event tonight, like I said this to other people, the main event, the expectation of Will versus Swerve from naive people would be like, oh, these guys are going to have a crazy match. The match wasn't special because it was a crazy match. The match was special because people were completely invested in both of their characters and how much depth they have. And it's almost like a bonus that they are so immensely skilled. So I think, like, I'm motivated as a British wrestler because now it's unparalleled. Like, the Forbidden Door at first was somewhat forbidden. Now it's, you know, it's slightly naughty. But what's special about this year is that we have Stardom and CMLL involved. And I think it's somewhat unparalleled that we have 4 global companies completely intertwined. I'm going to wrestle Hechicero for Rev Pro's anniversary show in August, the day before AEW run Wembley for the second time. Like, this is incredible. I was in CMLL last week. Hechicero wrestled MJF tonight. Like, what is going to change the industry, or at least progress it further, is those 4 companies.
Absolutely.
Completely intertwined. And then I want to be as much of a, involved in that.
Lyrics went SNME Radio. So during the show, Forbidden Door, it was announced Wrestle Dynasty, January 5th, Tokyo Dome, CMLL, Stardom, Ring of Honor, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is pretty monumental as far as interpromotional collaboration. So talk a little bit about how this came about and what should we expect
Well, it's really exciting. It'll be a big week in Japan. It'll be a big week in wrestling. January 4th and 5th, Tokyo Dome. We'll have Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. AEW and ROH are going to be a part of it. I know CMLL, Stardom, New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's really exciting. We had great collaboration. All those companies involved here tonight in Forbidden Door, and we're all going to go to Japan. It's going to be really exciting. It'll be very interesting. It'll be a great time for AEW. We'll also be starting a new year here. We'll have Dynamite and everything coming up that week. It'll be a very important week for the company, but we're going to work with New Japan Pro Wrestling and support both companies, and as well as all of our other international partners for the first ever Wrestle Dynasty in conjunction with Wrestle Kingdom. Very cool.